I'm telling you right now, there has never been a better time to be farming for Mace Windu, Jedi Master Mace Windu, okay? A couple of things that we really need to talk about, some of the recent changes in the games and the announcements that CG have made it the perfect occasion, and I want you guys to get on it now so you don't miss out. So last week, CG made massive announcements around changes to the game, and it's had a fundamental impact on how people should be thinking about playing the game, particularly in the mid and early game segments. Even those of you in later games, particularly those of you that are free to play, this update is huge. Absolutely huge. And this gets into why I'm talking about Mace Windu right about now. It is a combination of this recent change. We are now able to relic characters without having them at 4 stars. The really cool thing about this means that when it comes to farming for legendary characters, you do not need to have that character necessarily at 7 stars in order to get that unlock. Now, I'm going to explain there is a little bit of nuance when it comes to this, but generally speaking, that is going to be true. Now, as you can see down here, if you take a look at this, we are able to get characters to Relic 3 if we get them to 5 stars, Relic 4 if we get them to 6 stars, and Relic 5 plus if we get them to 7 stars. What that means basically is when we're in this scenario where a brand new legendary character has dropped and they're coming back in usually 3 months, but maybe a little bit longer, there are going to be opportunities where we can actually hit the relic requirements without actually finishing off all the stars. Now, this isn't specifically necessarily true for characters like Jedi Master Mace Windu, as he does require Relic 5, which means you do need 7 stars. However, we are still getting the error battles for Crimes Against the Republic and for the Nightfall error battle. Occasionally, that is going to accelerate those shards that we need. To recap, anybody that wants to be getting Jedi Master Mace Windu needs to have these 6 characters at Relic 5. We're talking Apo, CX2, Disguised Clone Trooper, Scorch, Temple Guard, and Depa Billaba. All of those characters are in the game. They're not all free-to-play farmable at this point. We do have Scorch available, Temple Guard will be coming soon, and then Depa Billaba. And Mace should be coming back in probably about 1.5 to 2 months' time. If you factor in a combination of this new setup where we can relic characters whilst they're being, 4 stars, 5 stars, 6 stars, 7 stars, whatever you want, right? You can relic these guys early and start using them in the raid and using them to help you with your error battles as they appear to help you earn more shards and more rewards, which is a double bubble juicy bonus. I'm telling you right now, this is a huge benefit. If you pair that with another announcement that we've got from CG just on Friday, which is this one over here, this is a massive win for the players, all right? Huge win, and I want to shout out to CG. When they do good stuff, we should be acknowledging that good stuff. So way back when, couple of weeks ago now, what was the original observation date? Let's have a quick look at that. 25 days ago. That's over 3 weeks ago. That might as well be an age away. They said they were looking at undersized teams and the performance of things like Keller and Beck and stuff like that, because maybe we were overperforming in this raid, and I probably think we are actually overperforming in this raid with undermanned teams and shortman teams and all that good juicy business. But CG have taken the stance that they are not going to fix, buff, debuff, nerf any of our teams that we have currently existing, which means the teams that we can use to underman are staying for the long term, for another 12 months. We've got like 50 more runs of this raid before it's probably going to move on into the next one, which means if you want to try and maximize this huge bonus we've got now, strike while the iron is hot. Get these new characters immediately, and the best ones to be getting are the requirements for Jedi Master Mace Windu, because we can get 2 undermanned teams with the Disguised Clone Troopers. We're talking Tarkin Scorch, and we're talking Apo CX2 and Nightfall, Apo CX2 and Disguised Clone Trooper. A fantastic team to have for PvP. Works great in territory battles, and now you can get 7.2 million if you wanted to take these guys up to R9, okay? But also helps you on your way to getting Jedi Master Mace Windu. Because we can now relic these characters early, it means you will be able to get higher and higher scores in the raid at a faster pace. You don't have to wait until they're 7 stars. You can start pushing your Tarkin solos up into the higher echelons. You'll be able to get yourself 1.8 million or 2.6 million or whatever, 2.7 million, however far you choose to push it, whilst also farming the shards and better benefit from the error battles as they are dropping. It is a really really positive change. Now, we should still be getting quite a lot of the Crimes Against the Republic era battle, which means we are going to be getting a massive amount of shards when it comes to Depa Billaba and Temple Guard. If we can get those guys even to 5 stars and start putting some relic levels into them, not even relic levels, just getting them to gear 12 is good enough to start actually using them in the raid and just benefiting from additional tiers from that era battle. You will benefit in the long term. This is such a positive change. That's come to the game. A combination of undersized teams not being fixed so we can do all that good damage, and then seeing that we can get, relic levels at low stars. It's a huge win. Now, there's a new item coming to the game called Lightspeed Tokens, and these things are super cool. This is basically like, it's an individual consumable that can be used to relic up individual characters. Now, they are going to be locked down by factions for now, and they're going to typically be for older characters, those over a year old at this point, but I wouldn't expect it to be like, in 6 months' time, 7 months' time, we'll have one for Darkside Clone Troopers. Don't expect that to be the case. So let's have a look and read about what this means. Lightspeed Tokens, new consumable, instantly upgrades a character to a specific power level. Think of it as an item that will boost specific characters similar to Hyperdrive Bundle or Lightspeed Bundles, but it's individual characters. They come in 5 different tiers. Tier 1 is basically just get them to level 85, 3 stars, gear 10, ability level 3. That's okay, depending on how easy this is. You just use it on a random character and be like, hey, there we go. I can now use this in a galactic challenge, or I can use this in a low tier for the raid or whatever, right? Bronzium, tier 2, we go to 4 stars, gear 12. This is huge. Like 4-star gear 2, like for early game accounts, this is such a good thing. Tier 3, you go to Relic 1 and 5 stars. Tier 4, you go to 6 stars and Relic 3, and then Tier 5, you just go straight up to 7 stars and Relic 5. That Tier 5, that's pucker right there. Okay, so what is it that they are implying? Don't hoard these Lightspeed tokens. They are going to be for specific characters as they release, or specific factions. And that list is going to get updated. So if you miss out, you're just going to miss out, guys. Just use them. They're there to be enjoyed and used. Now, obviously, this is going to suffer from the same issues that we get with Lightspeed bundles, in so much as you're not going to have the Zeta mats necessarily. But that doesn't mean that this is a bad thing. You're still getting free gearing for characters immediately. Just throw it on there. You can worry about Zetas as the game progresses. This is still a huge bonus. They are error locked, so initially Lightspeed tokens can only be used for characters from the Legacy era, everything before the era of Apprentices starting on November 19th, 2024 with Hugh Yang. Generally, tokens are for units from eras that ended or at least a year ago. That's the most important thing to think about here. Launch factions. The first Lightspeed tokens available at launch will be for Smugglers and Separatists. So it's going to be for particular units. If we were to go over to Smugglers and Separatists and just check out a couple of the characters that exist there, and we can theorize who they might be. So go over to Smugglers right now. You're not going to get Maz Kanata. You're certainly not going to get Jabba the Hutt. Could you get Hondo? I think having a Hondo at R7 is almost a cert here. Almost a certain. I don't think they're going to give legendary characters, so stuff like Chewbacca, Han Solo is going to be off the cards, but stuff like Dash Rendar, completely possible, right? Dash Rendar is a requirement as well for Starkiller, I believe, at Relic 5, so being able to get a Lightspeed token for this guy could be a shortcut to getting Starkiller. It's such a huge benefit for early game players. And also, Dash Rendar is used in the Outrider, that ship, okay? And that ship is used to unlock the Profundity. And it's just a good ship all around. Skiffguard Lando, requirement for Jabba the Hutt. Young Han Solo, trash. Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca. It's a requirement, I believe, for GL Hondo, but also, I believe, GL Rey. Zori Bliss, not a requirement for GL Rey, however, elevates the Finn team massively. She's actually very good in the game, particularly with her Omicron. Certainly with the current FDC for Jawas. She's very good in GAC. Veteran Smuggler Han, requirement for Slacker. Sana Staros, requirement for Afra. Vandor Chewbacca, great with Dash Rendar, if you've got his Omicron, which I don't. Emphys Nest, she's a pirate. She's very good in the raid. You can solo raids with her. Is it possibilities? You know, the possibilities here are very, very good already. And separatists don't really need much of an introduction, but again, there are some really solid units here. I'm pretty certain you're not going to get a conquest character like Trench. You're certainly not going to get something like Wat Tambor, which is a TB character, and you're not going to get the likes of Grievous, I don't think, simply because he's really a rare fleet purchase. I'd be very surprised if they give us Grievous, but it'd be a huge win if we do get him. Apart from that, I think everybody is basically fair game when it comes to this, and there are no real bad choices. All these characters here can be used to unlock characters like Padme. You've got the Geonosians, which can be used early game to help you unlock Wat Tambor. Also, you can use them in a Geonosian fleet. Newt Gunray, really solid character, also a requirement. Dooku, requirements for Galactic Legends. There are no bad choices here, guys. There are absolutely no bad choices. So I'm excited already for the first ones, even though I'm not going to be able to benefit from them on my main account. My free-to-play alt account may well benefit. And you can see it already here. Excluded units, you can't get Galactic Legends, obviously. No Conquest units, no Journey Guide units. Includes Territory Battle and Raid Rewards, so no Han Solos, no Chewbaccas. You're not going to get Wat Tambor or anything like that. Makes total sense, and you can't get capital ships. These tokens will not apply Zetas or Omicrons. I don't think we should be surprised, but hey, that pinch point is going to exist. We can also break down Lightspeed tokens if we don't have a use for it, which my main account is certainly going to be doing. Now, you don't get a lot, and honestly, tier 1, getting shock prods is useless. To my endgame account, I have 5,000 plus of each Kyrotech, so breaking down a tier 1 does nothing, breaking down a tier 2 does nothing. 10 Carbonite circuit board units, I mean, it's not a lot of rewards, but whatever. Tier 4 is where it starts to get a little bit better because you are getting fragmented signal data and incomplete signal data. You're getting some of those relic mats. That's never a bad thing. Never a bad thing. And then when you get to tier 5, you get a little bit more. So it's like, it's okay. It's okay once you get to tier 4. Tier 4 and tier 5 have got some use for late game. Early game units, you just use them on the characters. So we're going to find Lightspeed tokens apparently in the store, so probably for cash money, as well as rewards on the free episode track and the episode pass. So another reason for us to be investing in that episode pass. It's still the best purchase in the game, in my opinion. Spend that $20 when you can. It is definitely worth it. And they're also going to be using them as different rewards in the future. It's really, really good. So a couple of other restrictions that they've changed. One, unit level is no longer gated by player level. So as you're starting the early game, you can take a character straight up to level 85 if you have the credits, which you probably don't. But this is just a quality of life fix. Units now have all their abilities unlocked from the start. There are a number of units that have their abilities, leaderships locked by gear level. So you have to get them to gear 4 or gear 6 or gear 7 or whatever. Those no longer exist except for a few exceptions, okay? So Zetas and Omicrons are an exception, and I believe they're probably still going to tie in, yeah, over here. These three down here. General Skywalker's leader ability needs to be gear 7, Merrin's special needs to be gear 10, and Night Sister Zombie's revive mechanic needs to be gear 10. Now that was designed to get rid of people using the paper zombie cheese. If those of you who remember what that is, I mean, I guess we should expect that. Ship reinforcement abilities no longer being gated by star level is also kind of cool, because you'll be able to abuse and use things like a Phantom 2 in the early fleet game to get that reinforcement ability maxed out and benefit from that. That's pretty cool. Now, here's the part where it gets a little bit interesting. There's a couple of quality of life upgrades, and this one gives me pause for thought. Leveling up our units is now getting halved. Credits and ship material costs are slashed by 50% across the board. We already have a massive influx of credits, and I know it's different in sort of the early and mid game where you're still trying to level up every unit and you're constantly trying to, you know, level up new mods and stuff like that, and you just burn through credits, right? But in the later game, particularly those in end game, credits just have, in the past 6 months to a year since era battles have come into existence, have skyrocketed the amount of credit income we have. It's crazy. You get an era battle and you're immediately getting like 20 million credits. You know, happens twice a week. All of a sudden, you're gaining like 50 to 100 million credits a week. It's incredible how much we've got it. So them halving the cost of things like this across the board, it gives me pause for thought. This to me points towards level increase. level cap increase. Maybe we'll go to level 90, maybe we'll go to level 100. The only way that they can make that reasonable for a lot of players is to halve the cost. Because it's an exponential curve it goes on. You know, going from level 1 to level 50 might cost you, you know, 1 million credits or something like that. But going from level 60 to level 85 will cost you 6 million credits. It's kind of crazy. So if they were to introduce a level cap increase in the current trajectory, it would cost you like 50 million to get a character from level 85 to level 100. So I feel like that's why they've halved the cost. Now, I could be wrong on that. Maybe they're just trying to ease that credit crunch in the early game. I don't know. I'm happy to see that the ship material cost has decreased because that's always been a bone of contention. This is huge. Like, if you've already earned all the possible rewards from a recurring event, it's no longer going to appear. Thank you. I won't have to see things like the home one and the endurance and all that constantly inside of my events tab on my main account. I don't want them there. They're boring to me. So thank you, CG, for getting rid of that. There's no downside to that. I know some people are saying, what about the shard shops currency that we get from it? You don't get anything from these. You'll still get, like, when the when the executor comes back once a month, you'll be able to do that because you still earn 10 shards. So this just goes for any event that you get nothing for. Simming up to 100 battles, I've noticed this is nice, especially when you are, like, farming mods or something like that. You can just do, like, 50 sims at once. It's huge. Being able to sort by relic amplifier level is just lovely. And we can actually filter by relic amplifier level. Oh my god, so nice. So I can't wait for this update to go live. Well, a lot of this is already live, but I can't wait to see how this changes that early game experience. Right now, all I want to say, guys, is if you are looking to really take advantage of these new errors that are coming in, this is huge. This is so huge. You'll be able to take characters, even if they're 4-star, get them to 5-star, get them into relics, such as, you know, Scorch and stuff like that. You won't be able to do that top tier, but you will be able to increase the availability and the power that you can get out your Tarkin team and still have it bleed over into PvP game modes and use stuff like Datacrons. It's a really, really good upgrade. I'm really happy to see this happening. This is a net win. Obviously, there is going to be teething issues. Might spend too much resources on a character that you really don't need to. You just have to have a think about, is this character worthwhile? Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I will see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.